Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I'd do something kind of interesting today. I thought I would take a look at YouTubers who are also musicians and maybe do a little tier list ranking some of their music. And I figure someone such as me who has spent way too much time in music academia, I thought why not put my skills to use and judge other people. The criteria for this is I'm not including musicians who are YouTubers, so like Adam Neely, Mary Spender, Rick Beato, people like that who are musicians who just happen to be very popular on YouTube. We're just going to be including video essayists, commentary channels, just your standard YouTuber genres. All right, so with that, let's get into it. All right, so our first contender will be Miss Gabbie Hanna. Now,
all of these people for what they've done to me, and for them to be tweeting right now, I'm playing the victim. I am the f***ing victim. You have abused me and lied.
Yeah, so Gabbie Hanna, if you don't know, has kind of maybe a bit of a reputation around these parts in the digital sphere. There's a lot of things that have happened with Gabbie, but I'm not here, listen, I'm not here to judge about whatever incidents she may or may not have been involved with as a creator in terms of drama or whatever. I'm a musician. I am purely here to judge the music. And as we can see here on Gabbie's Spotify, she's put out quite a few records here. 3 full lengths and a ton of singles and EPs. So how does Gabbie stack up as a YouTuber musician, right? So I listened to everybody's records, including Gabbie's. And the thing with her music is she's had autonomous control over her career, as far as I can tell, the entire time she's been on YouTube. She is indie, but her sound is not really indie sounding. I mean, a lot of Gabbie's records, when she put out her first single in 2017, and I remember she was like still tight with David Dobrik at that point, and like there was like a bunch of people in a car listening, I think, to her song or something. I'll insert that here if that's correct.
This is you.
But yeah, so anyways, her stuff basically sounds just kind of like Demi Lovato, Halsey, BB Rexa, that kind of stuff. And like, I'm just a little surprised that Gabbie's sound is so like sort of major label-y sounding while being indie. But I will say the song Butterflies kind of slaps. Like, I'm always a sucker for pizzicato strings in like pop songs, and there's like loud guitars and shit, and she sounds great like vocally on that. So for me, I think Gabbie Hanna, you know, it's like I'm gonna put Gabbie Hanna C tier, right? Like, there's nothing really awful, I think, in her discography. It's not something that really piques my interest musically. It doesn't seem like there's too much stuff going on there that's all that compelling, you know, in a really interesting way. But her voice has only gotten better as the years have gone on, and her music's, you know, perfectly fine. So we'll do C tier. So next up, we're gonna do the one and only, the legendary, the king of YouTube, Charlie, Moist Critical, his band, The Gentlemen. And like, the thing with this that's crazy is that like, I didn't even know Charlie had a band. And not because I don't watch Critical. I mean, I watch the dude basically every day or every other day. The converse thing is that because YouTube does such a good job recommending his content to everybody, I always see a Charlie video on the front page when I open YouTube for the day. I just never really dug that deep into his back catalog of content on his channel. I would just kind of click the video I was given and then just kind of move on. But the thing is, when you go to his channel, and then you just go to playlists, right? And you click over one iteration, he has a whole playlist called Music that has all his original music. And there's a ton of stuff by his band, The Gentlemen, and a lot of it's just metal as hell. There's a lot of gent, no pun intended, maybe a pun intended, I don't know. He rocks, man, and I should have known from the long hair that he was into rock and metal. I kind of always assumed it, but I never saw anything to back that up. So I just kind of let that go. But yeah, Charlie sort of flying under the radar as a serious YouTube musician. And I really like his music. I love sort of I mean, you know, I grew up listening to Van Halen and stuff when I was young. Like, I dig, you know, heavy metal and stuff. So Charlie, because I genuinely really like his stuff, I'm not just trying to dick ride, I would put Charlie as A tier for YouTuber musicians, because like, his stuff is like the kind of shit that I would probably listen to just whatever. I didn't know it existed, and I really enjoyed listening to his album to get ready for this video. So yeah, Charlie is definitely A tier. Moving on, we have a couple commentary channels that I think are really interesting. So there's this kid Tov, whose real name is Bertie, I believe. Yeah, here's his second channel, Bertie. And this kid, I love this kid's channel because I love the way he's able to just do commentary videos and mini video essays, and then he's like, here's a song. Like if we look here, it's like, here's a song, and then, you know, songs with disturbing backgrounds and Tinder criminals and and then it's like, bam, here's another song. And then it's some more commentary shit, and then here's an album. Like, I love that shit. As a musician myself on YouTube, trying to do YouTube and put out original music, I feel like this kid just nailed the formula for how to have a channel that's like a YouTuber channel, and also just like put your music out there. And like, he just actually put out a full-length record here called Ear Candy. I think it was like, came out, let's see here, down here, yeah, like January 26th. I really like this record, honestly. I'm not just saying that again to deride anyone, because he said a couple of videos when I was like doing research for this video, he's going to make hyperpop music. And like, I'm old, right? Like, I'm old as fuck. When I was listening to hyperpop in like 2015, it was like Sophie and A.G. Cook and like Hey Cutie and all that like shit. But I really think something interesting is happening with these young Gen Z, like 19-year-old kids, is like they're doing like hyperpop mixed with like Lil Peep. He has a song called Tommy Lee, which is like kind of, I really like that. It's funny because like, having been old enough to have like, remember when Motley Crue went on their reunion tour, it's funny to like hear that, but I really do like that record. So honestly, if we go to Tov, right, or Bertie, I'm gonna put him in, we're gonna do B tier for him. Not because like, I think that like, doesn't put out good stuff. It's that he's only just begun, as far as I can tell. Like, he did a bunch of singles, and then he put out this record called Ear Candy. So I'm putting him in B, like on a potentiality sort of technicality. Like, I wanna see like what more kind of shit he does. And he very well can move up to A tier with Charlie and stuff. We're gonna stick with commentary channels going forward. And this next guy is a guy that flies way under the radar. Patrick CC, who's like very similar to this Tov kid. He's got like a very cool kind of YouTube commentary / sort of video essay channel. And like, it should be a giveaway because I saw his profile pic and I was like, does he do music? And if you scroll down, I think you would miss it. Because like, a lot of times with his channel, it's sort of similar. You just kind of take what the front page serves you from him. But if you scroll down, like, you have to go to featured channels. He has a ton of like secondary channels, but then one of them at only like 23,000 subs. I mean, only 23. I only have 2, but like only for him. He has a whole music channel, and he's like a musician. He's like a producer, and he doesn't really like, unlike everybody else we've been looking at, I don't think he really sings. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick. Like, I don't know, but as far as I can tell, he produces with a lot of people and he makes a lot of tracks. And the funny thing about him, and I don't know if he's like algorithm hacking or whatever, but he has a couple songs, like 2 at least that I'm aware of, that are like song titles of other songs. Like, he has one song here, like Buy You a Drank, and I was like, is this a T-Pain cover? But then no, he's like, sorry T-Pain. And then like, if you go to Spotify, his most played song is Black Hole Sun. And I was like, wait, is this like a Soundgarden cover? Because like, Soundgarden's like my favorite band of the 90s, possibly. And no, it's just another song. And I'm like, well, that's smart if like, you know, for hacking the algorithm and stuff. But yeah, like, as far as his music, it's like very like well-produced contemporary hip-hop kind of stuff. The kind of thing where it's like, if this dude wanted, he probably could like just have like an actual music career. I mean, with the amount of content he puts out, it's probably like the time that, because I know as someone who worked as an audio engineer for years, the time it takes to mix a song, let alone like an EP or let alone an album, it like really eats up like days. And I think if you're also making content like he is, probably the balance is tough. But if he decided to take a break from YouTube, just because this is his stuff, is very professional sounding, I think he could do it. I mean, he's got the audience, right? He's got like millions of subscribers. He's already got a following. I don't see why not he couldn't convert that into like a music career as a producer. Yeah, so for Patrick, I'm gonna put him in B tier again, because I feel like, as far as I can tell, he's only released a couple of singles. I haven't heard like a record yet, but what I've heard is good. So I'm all for that. All for him continuing on. So next up is Lele Pons, and I mean, we're kind of going back here to like, you know, post-Vine YouTube era with this. I never really fucked with Lele Pons like that, so I just missed the whole thing. But she is, here's the thing about her that's a little bit different than everybody else on this list. Her like biggest song is insanely big. I mean, her biggest video on her channel is not like one of her skits or whatever. It's this song, Se Te Nota. I mean, 424 million views. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, there are mainstream ass stars like Taylor Swift and whatever who've never gotten that amount of views on a video. Lele Pons is probably bigger in the Latin music world than I realized. I mean, I really fuck with Rosalia, but I'm not super like paying attention to what's going on in the Latin music world, like the ins and outs. And I mean, if you look at the plays on Spotify here, it's freaking crazy. It's like 387 million plays on Spotify. I mean, it's just nuts. For Lele Pons, I would say it's not necessarily my particular flavor of like what I enjoy, but you can't deny the success. Even though I really did not like her content at all like 6 or 7 years ago when she was popular, but can't deny the success. I'm gonna put Lele Pons in B tier, which I know sounds crazy, but like, again, I really can't overlook the huge amount of plays she gets, even though it's not my thing. Am I not the fairest musician judging other musicians ever? I don't really fuck with it, but like, I can't deny the success, so yeah. Okay, next up is Trisha Paytas, who is someone I hope I never meet in person.
I'm going to be doing the 100 layers of challenge.
And I really didn't honestly want to include Trisha Paytas in this because she's just so freaking toxic as a person, but she's put out a lot of music, and so I can't really like overlook that. So I was like, all right, I will listen to Trisha Paytas' music and try to make an objective judgment, right? Like if I can be chill about Gabbie Hanna, and I gotta be chill about Trisha Paytas and just like, you know, not judge the music by the person. That being said, some of this shit is ass, okay? Because the thing with Trisha is that she has a band called Sad Boy 2005, which is like a separate thing than the stuff she's dropped in her solo career. Which a couple of these songs sound like Britney Spears. Some of them sound like really bad commercial music. And the Sad Boy 2005 stuff is better. It's definitely much better quality and stuff. You know, she's picking like the one genre of music I cannot like fuck with, which is like mid 2000s emo pop punk. Like I'm from that generation. I'm like the millennial from that generation. And it's like, it's been like years, and like the rose tinted glasses thing like never happened for me with that stuff. Like could not stand All Time Low and Fall Out Boy and stuff, still can't. So it's like she kind of picked the one genre I really can't fuck with. Some of the solo singles Trisha Paytas has put out have been just so ass, so I'm sorry, E tier. Like, I'm sorry, that shit was just bad. Okay, another person who you wouldn't suspect at all is Münecat. Like, I don't know if y'all like watch Müncat's video essays, but they're really freaking good. She's another one where you wouldn't know unless you went to that second channel that this girl is like a very qualified musician. Like, cause you just go to the main channel. Like, she did a huge thing on the Manosphere that was like super interesting. She totally made this hilarious video about Gary Vee, which I found incredibly entertaining. If you go to her second channel, which you would miss if you weren't paying attention, she has like a ton of music. So like a ton of the music like that she's made has ended up in some of her like video essays. And there's like, she's all sorts of like genres. She's like punk, there's some new wave, there's some power pop stuff, all with like irony, and she's usually talking about whatever subject she's talking about because of the video essays and stuff. And I really like Münecat. This is right up my like genre lane of stuff that I would listen to. So I'm kind of biased, I'm not gonna lie. That being said, I'm gonna go A tier for Münecat. I really like her music, honestly. Okay, and Troye Sivan, who's another one who Troye Sivan was like never someone I watched, because like at the time he was popular, I was watching like the completely opposite side of YouTube. One of the people who I watched was on this list, and we'll get to him. I always hated his music. I hate to say, like his music just, it never worked. I know he was trying to be like sexy and stuff, but it just always fell kind of hollow to me. Then he said this, like this article here, I remember this too, like I was like, who the fuck? He said, we still don't have a queer Beyonce, Rihanna, or Taylor Swift. And to me, I'm like, have you heard of Frank Ocean? Like, have you heard of David Bowie? Have you heard of Prince could be considered genderqueer, right? It's like it reminds you of like when Sam Smith pretended he didn't know who Radiohead was.
Were you shocked when Tom York released a Spectre theme song on Christmas Day? Did you know about that, or have you heard it?
Tom York, Radiohead.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no.
Don't be so humble. I'm super biased, you guys. Like, this is so unfair because I'm super biased. Though I did go back and listen to like I Bloom and all his like tracks from his records and stuff. My is pretty cool. I like the rhythmic offset of that tune. I like the way they kind of like chopped up the bass hits and stuff. That being said, this is just mid. We're all catching strays from the mid, listening to Troye Sivan's discography, so I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna put him in D. Like, I can't believe people are gonna be like, are you seriously putting Gabbie Hanna above him? Yes, bitch! I don't know if I like Gabbie Hanna as a person, but like, some of her music is way less annoying than Troye Sivan. Sorry. Now we're kind of getting to like the good stuff. I have Contra here. This is like super random. Contra hasn't like put out original stuff or like singer-songwriter stuff, but she went to my alma mater, Berklee College of Music. And on her second channel, she does like a lot of classical piano stuff. Like there's some Satie, and I believe there's some Bach, and I think like Chopin, maybe Ravel and stuff like that. You know, that's pretty good technique right there. I know she probably hasn't practiced in a while, so it might be a little rough around the edges, but there's a nice, especially for like Satie, you need like a real gentle touch for that. So like, I like Contra. It's not original music, but she's definitely a musician, and she's definitely put out music on her second channel. Like, yeah, like look at this. We got Bach, Partita, Chopin Prelude, 3 Gymnopédies by Satie. As a classical musician who was trained by like a strict Soviet immigrant as a kid, which was a thing, this is the kind of music I really grew up on. That's still a part of my everyday life because the technique is definitely there, and I would love to see her do a concert straight up. I'm gonna go A tier. Contrapoints is A tier. Great piano playing. I guarantee you, she could play Scarbo or Alvarado de Gracioso. Piano players know what I'm talking about. So now we're getting down to the last few, and these are all, I believe, in my opinion, the highest quality people who have possibility to go S tier. Let's start with Conan Gray. Now, Conan Gray, I didn't know was a YouTuber. Maybe I did, but I didn't. I think at some point I saw, like, I don't know how I became aware of Conan Gray, but the algorithm must have showed me a video, like a music video at one point. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like I remember when like a couple years ago, or maybe it was just a year ago, I don't know. COVID has ruined my sense of time. When Heather kind of blew up on, I think, TikTok, I was like, oh, that's a really nice 6/8 song in 6/8. You know, I was like, acoustic kind of reminded me of like Sweet Baby James by James Taylor, but like from a more queer perspective, which I totally fuck with. And I really liked that. And then I kind of like checked out Conan Gray's discography, and unlike Troye Sivan, I actually really liked Conan Gray's YouTube content, even though it's totally not targeted towards my demographic. I found it to be rather sweet, sort of talking to, I guess, his fellow Gen Zers when they were like in high school. I went back and watched his old videos, which I never was aware of at the time, and what a sweet kid, I think. I don't know him, but seemed like a sweet kid. I checked out his record, and especially this record, this Kid Crow record. Yeah, that's just like, if I'm gonna go for like a pop sound with like synthesized basses and, you know, big choruses, I really liked it. I mean, some of this stuff too, it's like on Conan Gray's record, it was like, some of it sounded like Taylor Swift, some of it sounded like The Knack. You know what I mean? I think it was Checkmate or something, I can't remember, but one of it's reminded me of like The Knack, like Good Girls Don't. Or My Sharona, kind of like, but like totally different perspective lyrically, obviously, but I fuck with it. What can I say? This is the kind of stuff, it's like same thing with like Olivia Rodrigo, who's not on this list because she's not a YouTuber, but that kind of mode of like, if you're a pop star doing a bit of rock, doing a bit of pop, doing a bit of synth music, I fuck with it. So Conan Gray, I'm tempted to put S tier. I'm gonna put A tier for now. And this next one is somebody who I watched for years before I knew they were a musician, and that is Joji. We have Joji right here, folks. Now Joji, if anybody is worthy of S tier, in my mind, it's Joji. I mean, the journey from Pink Guy to Slow Dancing in the Dark and Glimpse of Us is, honestly, it makes me emotional to think about it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, because somehow it all fits together in like this beautiful story, honestly, not just musically, but as like a person. Like all the stuff with Filthy Frank and Pink Guy takes on like a much more emotional, like deep, almost makes you want to cry, honestly, quality when you think about like Joji's discography. So I don't even think we all need to argue about this at all. Joji, straight S tier, okay? I don't think we need to argue about it at all. Now, before I get to Bo Burnham, it's crazy how YouTube, like, you will be on one side of YouTube and just not know about like a totally other side with millions of people watching. This guy's name is like Rusty Cage, and I've never heard of this guy until one of my subscribers told me that he's like a YouTuber who does like kind of sketch videos and stuff, but he also does a ton of music. And I was like, okay. I went to Bro's channel. Apparently right now he's building a guillotine, which, you know, right on, I fuck with it. This dude's been doing music the entirety of his channel. He has a song here about the fall of that infographics guy who I hate, so, you know, we already are gonna be friends if we ever meet, probably. But like his musical style is very like, again, very Nick Cave, very kind of Tom Waits. That's right up my alley. So for me, again, I know I'm not trying to dick ride these people at Gents, it's what I think. I like the stuff. The only thing is there's a bit of edgelord vibe that I don't particularly love, but still I love the Nick Cave, Tom Waits thing, but we're gonna go B tier. Just cause like, I have just little things, you know, that I wish were better. And finally, we have Bo Burnham. I mean, when you think about the 2020s, when you think about COVID, when you think about everything we've been through these last 3 years, I think about Bo Burnham's Inside and like how it just, everybody who grew up on the internet, I don't care if you're millennial, I don't care if you're Gen Z, I don't even care if you're Gen Alpha, like all of us have grown up on the internet and been through all this craziness, everything from like Gamergate to like just the insanity, you know, it's like we've all been through just so much on the internet, and I feel like Inside, the record and the art piece will be remembered kind of like the way Laurie Anderson sort of was making these art pieces, these installations about what life was like in early 80s Cold War era of America, like nuclear annihilation, which somehow we're also sort of facing again. But anyways, I feel like Bo Burnham, it'll be like remembered like that, but with comedy. And the music is great. The music is great. So I'm sorry, Bo Burnham is gonna have to be S tier on this one. And so yeah, guys, this is my tier list of YouTubers who are also musicians. Now's the time when you gotta subscribe, you gotta like, you gotta leave a comment, and seriously leave a comment. I'm not just saying that to like be a hack and ask you to boost the algorithm, though, you know, that would be great. But leave a comment of other YouTubers who are musicians who I missed here, because I know there's gotta be more. Like when I asked my subscribers, I got a few great suggestions, but I know there's more YouTubers who do like commentary channels and video essays who are definitely musicians who probably have music on a second channel that I've missed. So leave it in the comments below who else, because I want to do a part 2 to this. But yeah, we got some great musicians on this website, and I hope to join them. I'll get my debut album done right away, guys, and I promise you it's gonna be good. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Let's get it going, and I will see you guys. I will see you in the next video. All right, I'm gonna see you later. Bye bye.